If you can't tell from how many times I've changed my angle in the past like couple weeks of videos, I'm struggling so bad to find a good angle. I literally cannot find a good angle for filming videos in this house. It's actually been very stressful. So please stop commenting on how horrible my lighting is or how bad the glare is in my glasses. Thank you. But anyways, hello everyone. Today I am here to do my spring book haul. I think it's officially summer by the time I'm posting this, but the last book haul I did was winter, and all of these books I bought in the spring. So, my spring book haul. So, I'm not gonna lie, I actually did really well not buying any books for the majority of this year, and then I moved to this new house. And it is in a completely different state, a completely different area, and I've struggled so bad finding a library to use. And honestly, in like May, I bought so many books just because I literally didn't have anything to read, so I was buying more books. But my goal for the year was to buy like less than 50, and I'm currently at 35, which is not where I want to be, but again, that like the past like month and a half I've been buying a lot more books because I've needed to I guess to keep up my reading because I haven't had a library. So but yeah, these are all the way back to March, these books that I am going to be talking about, so a lot of them you guys have already heard me talk about, but we're gonna haul them because that's what you do in a book haul. Hey Ben, wanna say hello? Hello. Oh, there's my big boy. Okay, go play. Please don't knock over my tripod. Wow, yeah, this really is dating this video. So the first book I have to talk about is a book that I bought when Haley was visiting me in March for the Astro in New York City concert. We went to the Book Mill, which is one of my favorite places in Amherst to buy books because I used to live in Amherst, and that is Severance by Ling Ma. This was a book that I read, I think I read it on audio? I want to say I listened to the audiobook maybe, or no, I got it from the library, and then I really enjoyed it, so I decided to pick up my own copy. And yeah, I really think this book is just really cute. It's very small and pink. I really like it, and this is a post-apocalyptic following a small group of survivors, which is my favorite trope. And then I ended up picking up a whole bunch of philosophy books. These come from a variety of places: thrift books, the Book Mill, the Amazon. So yeah, I ended up picking up a bunch of philosophy books because I was in a sexual ethics class last semester, my last semester of undergrad, and I loved it, and I really liked the things that we were reading, so I wanted to pick up the actual source material because we were only reading a couple chapters of things. So I picked up 4 nonfiction books, which I've actually talked about in another video all about trying to read nonfiction, but really quickly, Come As You Are by Emily Nagoski, which I have already read and really enjoyed. The Purity Myth by Jessica Valenti, which I'm in the middle of and have been for like a month and a half. And then Yes Means Yes, edited by Jacqueline Friedman and Jessica Valenti, but it has essays from tons of different people. And then Not Sexual Ethics, I got What to Think About Machines That Think, which is a collection of essays by scientists about AI, and I just was really interested in that. I think AI is really interesting, and I wanted to read a little bit of a philosophy book on it. And then to prepare for the Murakami Marathon, which is actually happening right now as I'm filming this, I picked up a bunch of the vintage Murakamis. I've already read all of Murakami's books, but I really adore these editions of them. They are like just so... I just love them. I actually really like all of his covers. I actually really like these ones that a lot of people don't seem to like, but these are like my absolute favorites. So I picked these up over the course of the last couple of months. And those I normally just pick up as I find them, but because of the Murakami Marathon, that's why I actually like kind of sought some out. So next up, I picked up a thriller. This is getting all the way into May. So those are all of the books that I bought in April and March. But getting into May, at the beginning of May, I was in the middle of finals week, and I just kind of wanted some like fun books to read. I also had literally 2 books on my TBR, so I decided to pick up a couple of books from thrift books, and the first one that I got was a thriller, The Chalkman by CJ Tudor. I saw Lala talking about this in a couple of videos, and I thought it sounded really interesting. I've already read this. I gave it a 4.25 out of 5 stars. I really liked it. It always gets compared to like It and Stranger Things. Question mark? And people are always like, oh, it like copied it. I really don't see the copying, besides it takes place in the 1980s and there's some boys who ride bikes. That's really the like extent of the copying. I also picked up Tipping the Velvet by Sarah Waters, which is a lesbian book about multiple lesbians. I don't really know, but I read Sarah Waters' book Fingersmith a couple months ago, April, and I really loved it, and so I wanted to pick up this, and I have not read this yet, but I plan on reading it very soon because of Pride. So yes, I loved her writing in Fingersmith, so I'm really hoping I enjoyed the rest of her books because she has quite a few of them, so I'm hoping I enjoy them. Also, during my finals week, I just really wanted a cute YA contemporary, so I picked up one that a lot of people were talking about and I thought sounded really cute, and that is Prince Charming by Rachel Hawkins. Everyone knows this book. I feel like it's like another royals romance. Royal romances have been a big thing, I guess, recently. So, but yeah, this was so cute, and I'm so happy this got a new packaging because it is so cute, and it really does kind of go to show how much covers do affect what you read, because the old cover, like, no one read this, and now this new cover, everyone's obsessed with it. So, but yeah, this is a royal romance about the sister of the girl who is marrying the Prince of Scotland, Wales, something like that, Prince of Scotland, and it's about the little sister going and having like drama and stuff because of her sister, and then falling in love. It was really cute. I liked it. I give it 4 stars. And then I picked up a copy of a book that I read much earlier on in the year for myself because this is one of my favorite books of the year, so I really wanted a physical copy, and that is Stronger, Faster, and More Beautiful by Arwen Ellis Dayton. One of you guys actually suggested this book to me. I'm pretty sure it was Greg on Goodreads, and I am so thankful that he recommended this because I freaking love this book. Again, 5 out of 5 stars. One of my favorite books of the year. Love it. This is kind of a compilation of, I don't want to call them short stories, because that makes it sound like a short story collection. I really don't like short story collections, and I know a lot of people are turned off by that. It's more like a series of novellas that all connect, and it basically follows a world where genetic modification becomes a thing, which is a hot topic in the science world right now, if you guys keep up with that. And basically, like, right now we're talking about being able to go in and genetically modify a fetus to, you know, not have certain diseases, and or like even kind of vain things like I want my child to have blue eyes, I want them to have brown hair, stuff like that. And this kind of goes off of that, and it follows, you know, right now where it's like, oh, we're doing this to help people, and like help people who like need organ transplants and have diseases and stuff, and then it goes all the way up to like thousands and thousands of years into the future. And I freaking loved this book. I think about this book so often. It's amazing. And then I got a couple of Book of the Month. I've already unhauled one of them because I hated it, and that was Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan, but I did get that from Book of the Month. But yeah, I unhauled it because it was a 1-star and it was a horrible book. But I also got Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid because everyone's talking about this. I wanted to pick it up. I am a huge rock and roll band fan. That's like my primary music besides K-pop, like Aerosmith, The Styx, all of that, AC/DC, which is a little later, but like I love my 60s through 80s classic rock. Big fan, like Pat Benatar, all of that stuff. I love it. So I was really excited to read this. I was a little bit hesitant because I am not personally a fan of reading about drug use in books. And I heard that this is very rock and roll, so it talks about drugs, and it did, but it wasn't in a way that made me super uncomfortable, so it was okay. But yeah, I have already read this, and I really enjoyed it. Like everyone else, I suggest the audiobook. It was really, really good. And then I also picked up a book I haven't read yet, The Descendant of the Crane by Joan He. I feel really bad because I actually got an arc of this ages ago, probably in like February. I just never got to it. I've been in a bad place with fantasy. I have not enjoyed fantasy in like probably a year. And I really haven't liked fantasy. Every fantasy book I've read for the past year has been like a 3 or under. Like, I just have not enjoyed fantasy, and I was so excited for this one because it's like a Chinese inspired fantasy, Asian inspired fantasy, and it would sound so good. And then I read The Wicked Saints and I hated it and it was 1 star, and then I was trying to pick this up and I read like 80 pages of it and it was just so typical and so annoying because I'm just so sick of YA fantasy tropes. So I did buy this. I'm holding on to it because if I get into a YA fantasy mood, I will have this with me to read, but right now I'm definitely taking a step back from fantasy, which is crazy because if you guys didn't know, I used to read fantasy all the time. I haven't in the last couple of years, but fantasy used to be my like main genre when I was like probably 15 through like 19, and now I just can't read it. Every single story is the exact same. I can't. I just can't read it anymore. I get so annoyed. So I am holding on to that because I really do want to read it eventually, but just not right now when I'm so annoyed with fantasy and YA fantasy. And then I picked up a book that everyone has talked about, everyone and their mothers has read and loved. It's amazing, all of that. Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I'm not going to talk about this too long. Everyone has read this and raved about it. I loved it. I give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I talked about it in length in a video that I will link above, and yeah, it's a great book. Gay. It's great. And then I bought my favorite book of 2019 so far. Whoo! That is The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling. This is a debut novel. Terrifying, because this was so freaking good. This is a sapphic horror sci-fi psychological thriller. And it is every bit as epic as that sounds. This is basically follows a world where it's kind of a sci-fi world, as in like there's other planets and they talk about other people going to different planets and stuff like that. But this person is kind of stuck on this one planet where there are a lot of excavations into these caves underneath the earth. I don't want to call it the earth, but underneath the ground where people go, and there are these things called tunnelers who make these caves and also like are attracted to humans and kill people and stuff like that, and it's really, really creepy. Every time I've described this book, I describe the creepy level as Junji Ito's the Enigma at something Fault, and it's a comic book. If you guys have read it, you know what I'm talking about. It's that really creepy, weird, just like ugh kind of feeling that you get from that comic, you get from this book. It's amazing. Highly recommend it. Best book ever. And then I picked up Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. This is the second book to Prince Charming, which I talked about earlier. This is the sapphic romance of this series, and I'm really, really excited to read this. Yeah, I put my bookmark in it because I definitely plan on starting it right after the Murakami Marathon ends. And yeah, this is such a cute cover. So excited. I love girls loving girls, plus Pride Month. Another Pride Month buy was Birthday by Meredith Russo. I loved this so much. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I already read it. I read it the second it got here. This basically follows a pair of friends who they have the exact same birthday, and it follows them from age 13 up to 18 and just their birthday day and like no other time of their life. But basically Morgan is trans. She is trying to figure out how to tell her best friend that she is trans because he sees her as a boy still. And it's kind of about love and romance and that, but also coming out and dealing with that. It has a lot of trigger warnings, just to warn you guys, but it was such an amazing book. I loved it so much. Another book of the month pick was one of my most anticipated books of the year, and that was Recursion by Blake Crouch. I've already read this. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I freaking loved it. It's amazing. This one it's very similar to Dark Matter in my personal opinion. It wasn't enough to like make it be like, ooh, did you just rewrite your old book? That did really well. But this one has to do with memory and time travel, kind of ish, different dimensions, parallel worlds. And I really, really liked it. It was really, really good. Anyone who was nervous about Blake Crouch's next novel after Dark Matter, don't be. It was so good. Really, really enjoyed it. The next book I got was a graduation gift from my boyfriend. He got me this and I love him so much because this is one of my favorite books of the year, and that is Middlegame by Shannon McGuire. I freaking love this. I was a little hesitant about it because I didn't really enjoy the Wayward Children novellas and all of that, so I was kind of hesitant about her as an author, but oh my god, this was so amazing. I picked it up totally on Books and Lala's recommendation, and I freaking loved it. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It's about alchemy and magic and twins and yeah, it's really hard to explain, but this is another book that I talked about in length in a video. And then the next book I got was actually a recommendation from someone because of when I talked about this. They said it sounded similar in vibe, so I decided to just pick it up because I need another book to make a thrift books order, and that was It Happened in Boston? ? I really like how there's a question mark. Yeah, this, I don't really know what is the real plot. Oh, it's about an unbalanced author who strives to meet God face to face in order to destroy him. This actually, he said, the person who recommended this said that it sounded similar in vibe to Middlegame, and yeah, this sounds really, really cool, and I've never heard of it. So I like sometimes just picking stuff up on the recommendation of my subscribers, especially because you guys really know my reading taste, and sometimes favorite books happen, like Stronger, Faster, and More Beautiful. So I'm really excited to try this one out. It's a pretty slim little novel, and yeah, oh my god, this sounds really cool. So, and then I have The Unnie Mooners by Christina Lauren. Basically, I was visiting my boyfriend and I went into a Barnes & Noble and it actually had sales. I don't know about other people, but my Barnes & Noble I grew up near and then in Amherst never had sales on any good books because they were like, oh, we can make money off of these because they're new and people want to read them, so let's not put them on sale ever. But I ended up getting 2 books from his Barnes & Noble because it had so many good sales, and this was one of them. It actually was more than 20% off. It was like on a table that it was like 20% off the like new price, so it was like 40% off, and oh, I was so excited. And I already read this, really enjoyed it. I think I gave it like a 4 out of 5 stars. Everyone knows what this one is about. It's a romance about 2 people who hate each other, but they are the sister to the bride and the brother to the groom at a wedding, and then everyone gets sick from a buffet except for them, so they take a honeymoon together and they hate each other. So yeah, it was great, really fun. Hey Tete, do you want to say hello? We got both kitties today. Hey! No, she's gonna just lay next to me and not actually be able to be on camera. Ooh, there you go. Aw, you're so good. You're such a good girl. Okay. Okay, and the last novel I bought was also at that Barnes & Noble that had actual sales, and I got Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. I say, as I already said, I didn't want to read any more fantasy for a while, but this big, beautiful, floppy paperback, 10th anniversary edition, which I'd been looking for and stocking on thrift books for a literal year, was on sale at Barnes & Noble for $10. So I picked it up. I love Brandon Sanderson. If anything, fantasy, I do really enjoy Brandon Sanderson. So I picked this up. And then I have some manga really quick. I picked up volumes 2, 3, and 4 of Your Lie in April. I read volume 1, which is over there, which I got in New York City, and I really enjoyed it, so I decided to pick up the next couple of volumes because they're really cheap on thrift books. And then I picked up volumes 1, 2, and 6 of A Silent Voice because, again, just kind of was picking them up because they were cheap. And I've read volume 1 and 2, and I'm currently waiting to get the other volumes, because obviously I can't just read 6. But yeah, these are really good. Everyone's been hyping these up. Oh, this is about a deaf main character who gets bullied, stuff like that. And then this is about a piano player and a violin player. I hear that both of these are super sad. They haven't been super sad yet at volume 2. But yeah, really excited to be continuing reading these series. But anyways, those are the books that I have to haul for you guys today. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I was about to say leave down below if you've read any of these and tell me what you thought, but the majority of them I have already read. So, I mean, you can tell me what you guys thought below, but I have already read most of these books, so. But anyways, again, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and I love y'all, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye!